Welcome back to another GP Fast Forward, or rather, an ACP Fast Forward. Today we're taking a look at the first entry in Kotobukiya's brand new Armored Core line, the Variable Infinity Overt Scale, or V.I.O.S series. And there's no better way to kick off this line than with our best buddies machine, V4 Rusty's Steel Haze.
Hey, buddy.
Now, as much of a fan as I am of Kotobukiya model kits and Armored Core in general, I will say that the original Variable Infinity line is 100% not in everyone's wheelhouse. Aside from the limited articulation and general stability issues, because of how the model comes together, if you wanted to build an Armored Core model kit pre-2024 expecting a simple straight build, you were gonna have a rough time. While the difficulty level of the Variable Infinity line was almost up there with old-school military models, I'm here to tell you that Kotobukiya has completely wiped the slate clean with the Overt Spec line. Steel Haze comes together much quicker than you'd think, and if you've built any of the recent Megami Device Buster Doll series, it adopts the same sense of bigger, sturdier parts with a focus on larger pegs for strong, stable articulation points. There is no dedicated polycap runner in this build, and the joint areas are made of the same softer plastic we've grown accustomed to in recent polycapless Bandai builds. If we really had to compare the build to anything, it would be some weird in-between of a full mechanics and a mega size. The thing I really loved about this build process is how straightforward it was. Each subassembly came together without the need for 10 or so extra tiny parts that needed to be glued in, like in the older models. I understand that the old ones were like that so that painters would have less to mask off, but it truly made those kits a shatter risk if you weren't cementing things in as you built. Moving on to the articulation, this is going above and beyond any of their old releases, and even past Bandai's 30-minute missions line. While building the core and waist assembly, you'd start to think, oh no, the shoulders and waist have such limited range of movement. But once you actually get to the shoulder and thigh joints, they're entirely separate assemblies that increase the range of motion to spectacular degrees. My favorite addition, aside from the legs being the correct color, that I haven't seen anywhere else is an accurate recreation of the double leg joint from the thigh to the knee, which you can only recreate in the 30-minute missions line using an aftermarket part and some minor surgery. This leads to a wide range of articulation, and hopefully, this holds up over time. Now, let's take a look at the accessories. First up is the Sampu Burst Handgun. It's incredibly simple, being its own runner of 3 pieces. There is a seam line running right down the top, but it's not as difficult as any of the 2-piece clamshell weapons of the past. Next up is the Ransetsu Burst Rifle, which is a couple steps more complicated than the handgun, but comes together beautifully. The banana magazine is also completely removable, and it even has a round peeking out in case you wanted to paint it for realism. On the opposite shoulder hanger is the VVC-703 Plasma Missile Launcher, which looks impressive despite being only 8 pieces, and comes with option parts to simulate the firing and cooling mechanisms. Finally, we have Rusty's signature weapon, the VVC-774 Laser Slicer. Just like the 30-minute missions, this model comes with a closed version as well as a fully deployed version, with added laser effects for the deployed state. For the size of this model, I honestly thought they'd make it fully transformable, but while I appreciate a good gimmick, I have to admit that I love the stability of fixed pose options. However, Kotobukiya did recently announce a close quarters Noctrier coming out this summer, which comes with a semi-posable charging state of the Laser Slicer, not to mention the VP4D arms, and of course, all reliable. Aside from Rusty's usual loadout, there are weapon hanger and shoulder weapon mounts for both sides, plus an expansion gimmick for the back of the core to simulate whenever you activate Assault Boost or Assault Armor in-game. There's also a tiny sheet of water slides with Rusty's emblem on it, 3 of them in case you mess up. So the verdict? Day? A solid 9 out of 10. As amazing as it is, this kit is still going to take some work and I wouldn't have it any other way. It definitely needs some touch-ups and color correction in various places, and a little bit of weathering on this would go a long way. The pros. An absolutely insane improvement for the Variable Infinity line. A streamlined, straightforward build, no abundance of greebles that need to be cemented in, strong, stable joints, much better accuracy to the in-game model than the 30-minute missions in color, posability, and shape. Option parts to swap weapons and hangers to either side of the core, even melee weapons. The cons. Expensive, around 3 to 4 times the price of the 30-minute missions. It's a parts former. A con for some people, but not for us. Better stability, but it sacrifices gimmicks. There are a multitude of lengthy seam lines running down the legs and in some parts of the arms and the weapons, but nothing too egregious. There are certain poses that can put more strain on the thigh joints than it can handle, so it may start sliding down on its own, but that's nothing that can't be fixed with a little bit of clear nail polish or some other strengthening agent to add friction to the joints. Still, it survives the shake test way better than any of the older models. In terms of small improvements, I'd honestly consider taking a hand drill and a knife to clear the infill from between the laser slicer's frame. Thank you again to Kotobukiya for the sample. We cannot wait to see Nightfall, Orbiter, and Steel Haze Ortus in this line, as well as all of the others that were shown in Shizuoka in 2024. Thank you to Morizo61 for these photos. And as always, thanks for watching.